the sailing academy only building that's going to be built before the Olympics?
It's the only facility which the bid that London 2012 put into the International Olympic Committee said was required in order to successfully host the sailing here. So we will see an extra slipway being built at the academy. Obviously, the academy is largely complete. The academy themselves would like an extension, and that's something for further negotiation. But there's some discussion now about whether the plans for the mini Olympic village that will need to be down in Portland Harbour, whether that should be, a few luxury liners moored up in Portland Harbour, at Portland Port, or whether we should look for some permanent residential development that, after the Olympics, could then become affordable housing. Now that sort of discussion is in its early days at the moment, but I'm keen to see that happen. There's some thinking that might run alongside Bath University developing degrees in partnership with Weymouth College in sport. Bath have got a fantastic reputation in terms of sport. Some of our Olympic athletes train there, and the sports science that they do hasn't done much with water sports, and we could have some undergraduates, graduates located with student accommodation there in Osprey Quay alongside the residential stuff. But that's very early days, and I'm giving you an exclusive because not many people know that.
And when you say Bath is very good at sports, so if you want to be in the Olympics, do you have to go to a very good college, or how do they pick people to go in the Olympics?
Okay, you don't have to go on to university. Sometimes university helps, and sometimes the elite athletes use facilities that universities have. But I was with Kelly Holmes this week, who's our national school sports champion, but also is kind of better well known for being a double gold medal at the last Olympics. And Kelly went into the army, and she developed her sporting brilliance as an Army PE instructor, and that's another route. The main thing is, at an early age, to train hard, to not only train with your club and your county, with your school and take part in county competition. Now we have the school games, the national school games, so you can take part in national competition, but also join a club in whatever sport it is that you excel at, so that you can develop as an athlete in whatever sport through the club structure as well as through the education structure. And then the coaching, the people will identify you, the talent spotters will be out looking at club competition, and if you're really good, you'll be taken on, and you can then apply for the sponsorship through the lottery and so on to get the sort of support that you need.
Can you just breathe a bit?
Should the Olympics be cheaper for local people, or should they be?
Well, I think the local area is going to benefit hugely from the Olympics, because we will see that extra spend coming in through tourism, the opportunities around investment. Hopefully it'll motivate people to become more active. So we will see that benefit anyway, and I think, if I'm honest, it would be difficult to justify local people getting cheaper access to spectate on top of the benefit that they've already seen without, as is the case in London, having to pay extra council tax in return for all those extra opportunities that they're going to get. So I think that's a difficult case to make.
How could we make kids involved in the Olympics?
Well, that's something that I'm responsible for nationally, because I'm the Minister responsible for school sport and for what the Department for Education is doing in terms of the Olympics. And I think there's a huge enthusiasm amongst young people for the Olympics, and there's a range of things that I think we need to be doing. Using it to encourage people to take part in more sport. And we can do that by the use of the Olympic brand a little bit more, by using the Olympics to motivate athletes to come out, people like Kelly Holmes to come out and spend more time in school and motivating kids to do it, because government ministers aren't the people who are going to motivate people to be active. It's going to be winners like Kelly, like the Olympic athletes that we have living here in the town, who the Olympic sailors. So more sport, more global exchange. The Olympics is not just a sporting festival, it's a cultural festival as well. In 2008, the 4-year Cultural Olympiad will start, and I think that's an opportunity for us to do a lot more cultural exchange with schools, both here in the UK but also abroad. One of the reasons why London won the bid in Singapore was because we sold London as being an amazingly diverse cultural city. We've got 50 languages spoken in London. We've got people who have made London their home from all over the world. And we need to celebrate that diversity whilst still backing Team GB, patriotically supporting the British team. And that's an opportunity then for us to do that global exchange and learn more about other countries. And I want to use that in turn, beyond then the sporting activity and the cultural activity, to develop language learning a little better, because that's motivating people to learn languages is a slight problem. So there's all sorts of things I want to do with the Olympics, but in order to do that, we've got to use the brand of the Olympics really carefully. And so I'm currently negotiating with Seb Coe, who heads up London 2012, who in turn is working with the International Olympic Committee, around whether or not we can have Olympic schools. So these would be schools that are already sports mark schools, arts mark schools, healthy schools, and they're doing enough through their other accreditation to then be able to say, yes, you've got it all right, you are an Olympic school, and you might be a bronze school, a silver school, or a gold school. Now the International Olympic Committee guard the use of the word Olympic really carefully, so we've still got some negotiation to do before we get that agreed. But I think things like that are ways of getting schools to feel really proud of themselves and their achievements and be associated with the Olympics.